Naimbag nga adlaw kada kayo amin. Get it, guys? It translates to good morning everyone in Ilocano language. Ilocano language is widely spoken in the Ilocos region. Do you know why I use such language? That is because we may or may not be talking about a 382-year-old epic that is still being discussed nationwide under certain academic courses. The epic is entitled Biag ni Lam-Ang. I hope you already read the whole story we provided beforehand, as we will only be discussing a brief summary of the poem within this presentation. But let's first take a peek at the author, the year of publication, and the characters of the story.
Biag na Lam-Ang, or the life of Lam-Ang, was believed to be recited and passed through the word of the mouth of the various poets from their generation to its next. It was only on 1640 when a man named Pedro Bucaneg officially transcribed it under Ilocano language. Bucaneg is a Filipino poet and was considered as the father of Ilocano literature. So yes, our epic Biag na Lam-Ang is already 382 years old or even older.
There are 8 significant characters in the story. First, Lam-Ang.
Ay, Mother Namongan, please let your son go, for I must look for my father, to whom I am so beholden. I, Tato Tigro, could I ask, what the fault of my father beholden? You must pay for this.
He is the heroic protagonist, son of Don Juan and Lam-Ang. Second, Inis Canoya.
Ay, my husband Lam-Ang, where are you now? I can't even find anybody I can hire to dive to arrange the bones. My husband Lam-Ang, come, give me your hand for the woman Kanoyan. The wife you left has missed you.
Is a beautiful daughter of the richest man in all Kaluntian. She is also the woman pursued by our protagonist. Third, then have Namonga.
Ay, my son Lam-Ang, about your father. You were still in my womb when he went away. That was when he left. He went to the forest, to the Igorot country of the tattooed Igorots. Ay, my son, my brave Lam-Ang, please don't go. Your feet are still tender. Your hands are still like folded leaves. You are scarcely 9 months old.
Mother of Lam-Ang. Fourth, of course, Don Juan. Husband of Namongan and father of Lam-Ang. He is also the reason behind Lam-Ang's revenge where the stories all started. Fifth, the magical animals accompanying Lam-Ang, the white rooster and the dog.
Ruff! Ruff! Are up on Namongan. In your dreams, yesterday, Doña Ines Canoyan will surely be your in-law. Ruff! Ruff! Tilao! We came, Apo, to pay our respect to your daughter Canoyan. Apo, with your permission, we came to court. Tilao!
They provide certain help to Lam-Ang during his journey. 6 is Lakay Marcos. He is the one who found and collected Lam-Ang's bones. 7. Second to the last is Samarang.
Ay, my friend Lam-Ang, you had better not continue. For who are you? That you will be loved by Doña Ines Canoyan? Men are rich, even Spanish gentlemen. Yet they were not even looked at by Doña Ines Canoyan. So my friend Lam-Ang, you had better not go on.
He is the one of Inis Canoyan's suitor, known rival of our lover boy. And finally, Sarindang.
Whatever for, Kakalam-Ang. Can't you please me and give what I desire?
A woman who tried to seduce Lam-Ang but failed. Tone or mood. First is storge love. Storge love is one of the four types of love of philosophy. This love is towards brothers, sisters, and parents. In his language, this is family love. Biag ni Lam-Ang shows a great amount of son's love for his father. He even painted his hand with the blood just to give him revenge for his death. Second is silent love. This applies between Don Juan and the Igorots. They were all fine coexisting until one of them intruded the latter's property. This is a sign that even with no physical or evident war happening between two sides, lowlanders and the mountain ethnic people, they are in deep rivalry. Third is death. There were numerous deaths mentioned in the story. All people going against Lam-Ang were no doubt killed with the author. Fourth is power. This gas magical and power as in strength. Lam-Ang has used enormous amounts of power in the story. Being 9 months old and already fighting for your palace is bravery and powerful. And of course, not true, but amazing.
Discussing the characters somehow gave us little glimpse of what happened in the epic. And so, without further ado, here is the plot of one of the most famous and oldest epic in the Philippines, Biag ni Lam-Ang.
In the northern lands of the Philippines, in Nalbuan, La Union, lived Lam-Ang and her husband, Don Juan Panganiban. At the time, Lam-Ang was getting ready to deliver her firstborn. But Don Juan had to go to the mountains to punish an Igorot band. While the husband was away, Lam-Ang gave birth to a baby boy. And the boy was very strange because he could talk from the moment he was born, and he even told his mother that he should be named Lam-Ang. He also chose his own baptismal sponsors. He then asked his mother, "Where is my father, Mom?" When Lam-Ang was 9 months old and his father is still not returning from the mountains, the boy decided to go after his father. And while he is traveling, he dreamed one night of Igorots celebrating the death of his father. He woke up in anger, believing his dreams to be true. He then traveled faster after this and soon reached the place in which he found many Igorots still celebrating around the severed head of his father. He slew them all except one, whom he tortured first before releasing. Upon returning to Nalbuan, several women friends gave him a bath in the Amborayan River. So much was the dirt and so evil was the smell taken of his body that the fish in the river all died. Later, after this event, Lam-Ang fell in love with a girl named Ines Canoyan, who is the daughter of the richest man in all of the land of Kalanutian. Although his mother tried to discourage or dissuade him not to pursue Ines Canoyan, he nevertheless took a white rooster and a dog with him as he went forth to continue courting Ines. On the way to Kalanutian, he met another suitor of Ines. This name's rival was Sumarang. Upon knowing that they were rivals, they quarreled and eventually their verbal conversation became violent and Lam-Ang slew Sumarang. Upon arriving at the house of Ines Canoyan, Lam-Ang found a crowd of rivals vying for the hand of the lady. So Lam-Ang made his white rooster crow mightily to impress everyone. And immediately, a house in the neighborhood collapsed. The people shouted in surprise and fear. Hearing the noise of the shouts, Ines Canoyan looked out her window, and this is what Lam-Ang is exactly expecting. And to impress her, he made his dog growl. And the house that collapsed before went up again as if nothing had happened. Duly impressed, Kanoyan and her parents came down and learned from the rooster Lam-Ang's intentions. The parents said they would bestow the hand of Ines upon Lam-Ang if the suitor could equal their wealth consisting of lands and gold. So, Lam-Ang went home to Nalbuan and prepared for his wedding. When he returned to Kalanutian, he and his companions were aboard a vessel of gold which more than matched the wealth of his future parents-in-law. So he married Ines and then there was a great celebration. After some time that the marriage is having good flow in it, the headman of the town reminded Lam-Ang that it is his turn to catch raring. Raring is a kind of fish. And Lam-Ang told Ines that he had a premonition that he would be bitten by a big fish called Berkakan. And Berkakan is under the shark family. And this will happen while he is fishing for his duty. And it was, as he said, he was killed. But the white rooster told Ines that if the bones of Lam-Ang could be recovered and gathered together, he might be revived. So, with the help of a diver named Lakay Marcos, the bones of Lam-Ang were collected. And with the loving ministrations of the rooster, the dog, and Ines Kanoyan, Lam-Ang lived again.
They started with Lam-Ang bearing a child before she could deliver the baby. However, her husband Don Juan went to the mountains to give punishment to a band of Igorots. Giving birth to an extraordinary child, Lam-Ang stopped Lam-Ang on finding his father. He went to the mountains to seek for his father and take revenge for having him killed in the hands of the Igorots. After dreaming of his father's head being circled by the Igorots, his anger went straight up and made him lash to the Igorot's bands. He slowed them all and even tortured one to quench his anger. He went down the mountains and took a bath in a Burayan river before coming back to his waiting mother. He fell in love to the daughter of the richest man in all Kalanutian, Ines Kanoyan. He plans to court Ines Kanoyan and on his way to her, he killed Sumarang. He also did wonders in Kalanutian with the magical powers of his white rooster and dog to make Ines look by the window. He brought 2 ships full of gold by request of his soon parents-in-law. He was killed by a Berkakan as per his premonition. However, he was rescued from death by a ritual made by his wife, white rooster and dog. Till then, they live in peace.
Lam-Ang was very brave. He was ready to dive any depth of danger, just find his father and take a revenge for him. He also all determination and willpower to anything he sets his heart and mind to. And we can prove that when he was asked for a dowry exchange of hand of prospect wife. Well, hearing the story is one thing, but understanding why these events happen in the first place another to unfold. Here are some people who did a research regarding the story, sharing the historical, social, and political setting that eventually helped to appreciate the read epic even more.
Historical. The story was originally a pre-Hispanic epic poem of Ilocano, people of the Philippines. Pre-Hispanic because the country was colonized by Spain in 1521, and the story was already being handed down orally for generations. Before it was written down officially around 1640, it is notable for being the first Philippine folk epics to be recorded in written form, and was one of only 2 folk epics documented during the Spanish colonial period along with the Bicolano epic of Hunter.
The epic showed a heroic adventure of the main character, Lam-Ang, and this epic also mentioned the status of Spanish people compared to the indigenous Filipino people. There were codes and conventions that help identify the genre of the epic. An example of a notable code that can be seen in the epic is the symbolic code. Yes, a symbolic code which is the tattoo of the Igorot, which symbolizes the rank and the power in the Igorot community. The passage goes by, I, tattooed Igorot, could I ask what the fault was of my father beholden? You must pay for this. And another one, I, tattooed Igorot, I will not be content with only you as adversary. You, Igorot chief!
These tattoos could only be earned by accomplishing a specific task or as a site of passage. Another example of symbolic code is when Lam-Ang told the young ladies to pull out its teeth and string them and use it as a talisman. This folklorized or talisman was known for the Filipinos as a system of magic or sorcery with special uses. Although these details were not included in the plot, the protagonist showed interest in the right of the start of the poem when he pursued on finding his father. He pocketed stone of Tangraban, Lawlawigan, and Musang to protect him from particular birds and animals he might encounter on his journey. An example of convention present in the epic was that it was depicted from real-life events, when Lam-Ang was advised by her mother not to suit Doña Ines because there are many wealthy people pursuing the lady. This idea was respected based on the real-life situation of Filipinos during the Spanish era. Filipinos were being discriminated because of their standing in the society, of being a low-class individual, or being called as Indio.
In the story of Biag na Lam-Ang, Don Juan, who is the father of Lam-Ang, was killed by a band of Igorots through beheading because Don Juan wants to give sanctions or punish a band of Igorots. If the head of a tribe believes that the low-class tribe disobey one of his rules, he will give sanctions or punish them. During the pre-Hispanic era, tribal Filipinos regards the forest, hunting, settlements, and farm grounds within their defined boundaries as their communal heritage and is not a commodity that can be bought and sold to another tribe. And so, it is offending for them if someone outside their community did not follow their rules or disrespect their beliefs. This misunderstanding often caused the start of the violent war between or fight between Igorots and Lowlanders.
In addition to that, the fact that during the 350 years, the their lowland brethren were being governed over by Spanish invaders, the Igorot peoples of North Luzon fought for their freedom against foreign attack. Because the Igorots did not submit to Spanish rule like the lowlanders did. Spaniards regarded them as bandits, savages, and lawbreakers. Whatever the pre-Hispanic situation, after the Spaniards began enslaving the lowland Filipino tribes, those who did not so naturally turned against those who did not.
Quick fact! Do you guys know? If Lam-Ang is a real person and he likewise acted in this manner as a revenge for his father being abducted and killed months before he was born, he will be held accountable. I know you all know, retaliation will never be justified as a self-defense. Retaliation is different from an act of self-defense or defense of relatives. In retaliation, the aggression that was begun by the injured party already caused to exist when the accused attacked him. In self-defense, the aggression was still existing when the aggressor was injured or disabled by the person making a defense. Therefore, Lam-Ang's actions would not be justified because he was still within his mother when his father left, and most likely, the day after his father arrived at the place of the Igorots, he was killed. But, if Lam-Ang was with his father on the day and at the time the Igorots killed him, and if he intervened to protect him and unfortunately killed them, the Igorots, then it could be justifiable as a defense of relatives. Particularly, when the requisites for the defense of relatives under Article 11, Paragraph 2 of the Revised Penal Code were present.
It describes what life is all about. They emphasize the significance of stating the truth. They teach us a crucial life lesson. We should perform our tasks without expecting a reward. It is remarkable for being the first Philippine folk epic to be written down, and it was one of only 2 folk epics documented during the Spanish colonial period in the Philippines. The Epic of Biag ni Lam-Ang portrays the qualities and several characteristics of Filipinos. The fact that the traits, attitudes, and values being shown in this phenomenal epic are all reflections of our ancestors, especially the Ilocanos who were the source of this fictitious piece during the pre-Hispanic period. It depicts unwavering bravery, justice, love, romance, relationship, journey, and even friendship. The vastness and heroism in the story are filled with idealistic imagination and fantasy.
What are the moral lessons in Biag ni Lam-Ang? Life is full of trials and problems. You must be strong and accept this reality in order for you and to me to succeed. Also, we should evaluate ourselves and know what things are our priorities. We should also think for the people worth fighting for and up to what extent can you stand for them. And lastly, knowing that even the mightiest people die, there are no exception to these things. For anyone, and the only thing you can do is to bravely face and live day by day within one step at a time.